Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday's devotion. I hope that you're doing well. As promised, we are continuing on in a little mini series on the book of Nehemiah. And I do believe it's important to name that Nehemiah was not a standalone book in the Bible for forever. It used to be Ezra-Nehemiah, and the two books were one. So it's more recent in church history and all of that they have been separated. But I want to explain the roles of three important men in the rebuilding of Jerusalem. Zerubbabel, Ezra, and Nehemiah were three incredibly important leaders who were tasked in the midst of Babylonian exile to work to not only return to Jerusalem, but to rebuild the temple, to rebuild the community, the spiritual affairs, if you will, and to rebuild the wall. And so Zerubbabel is this man who is in the book of Ezra, and he is a guy who is tasked to rebuild the temple. Ezra really focuses on taking charge of, again, their kind of moral and liturgical reforms that need to take place, setting their hearts right with God. And then Nehemiah, he focuses on the wall around Jerusalem. Now, on Monday, a few days ago, last time we talked about how it's never too late to rebuild. It's never too late to get started with something. And for those of you who have followed my fitness journey for, 4+ years, Orange Theory was a really, really big part of just health, weight loss for me. I lost 60 pounds at one point through Orange Theory and Weight Watchers. And recently, after an 18-month break, thank you, COVID-19, I am back at Orange Theory. And I have to tell you all, it has been really hard. I am walking like a Disney witch. I'm hobbling around. I'm having a really hard time standing up and sitting down. And I really, honestly, was dreading going today. That's why I'm so sweaty and my hair is wet because I just took a shower, but I just worked out too. So it was hard to get there. And once I got there, I told myself, remember all of those times that you've gone and you were really sore and you worked out and it actually helped. Remember all of those times that you were really sore and you didn't want to go, but then you went to an Orange Theory class and you were so happy. You had so many endorphins afterwards. And then the big one, remember all of those times and all of that work that you put into your fitness journey and your health and wellness, and you lost the weight and you gained so much muscle and you were able to get your health back, right? So I did that, and I said that driving to the gym today. I went. Again, the workouts are hard. They are full body workouts. There's weights. There is kind of the floor, there's all kinds of, abs, arms, all the things, TRX straps, if you know what that is. And then there's a rower, a water rower, and then there's the treadmill. So it's not necessarily a walk in the park, especially after taking a break for 18 months. But I was, no joke, thinking about how applicable tonight's devotion was when I was working out at 3 p.m. today, because tonight, we are going to be talking about how Nehemiah faces strong opposition in the midst of building this wall. God was with Nehemiah. God answered Nehemiah's prayer. Nehemiah went and, talked to Xerxes and was like, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to rebuild the wall. He was seeing the possibility of God's restoration and redemption in the middle of the ruins. But today, we are going to talk about how all of the enemies came and surrounded them. So this is chapter 4 of Nehemiah. When Sanballat heard that they were rebuilding the wall, he became angry and was greatly incensed. He ridiculed the Jews and the presence of his associates and the army of Samaria. He said, "What are these feeble Jews doing? Will they restore their wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from those heaps of rubble, burned as they are?" Tobiah the Ammonite, who was at his side, said, "What are they building? Even fox climbing up on that would break down their wall of stones." So there was so much intimidation. There were so many taunts. There was just a lot of discouragement coming from them. "Hear us, our God, for we are despised. Turn their insults back on their own heads. Give them over as plunder. Do not cover up their guilt or blot out their sins from your sight, for they have thrown insults in the face of the builders." So we rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half its height, for the people worked with all their heart. But when Sanballat, Tobiah, and the Arabs and the Ammonites and the people of Ashdod heard that the repairs of the Jerusalem's wall had gone ahead and that the gaps were being closed, they were very angry. They all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem and stir up trouble against it. But we prayed to our God and posted a guard day and night to meet this threat. Meanwhile, the people in Judah said, "The strength of the laborers is giving out, and there is so much rubble that we cannot rebuild the wall." Also, our enemies said, "Before they know it or see us, we will be right there among them and will kill them and put an end to their work." Then the Jews who lived near them came and told us 10 times over, "Wherever you turn, they will attack us." Therefore, I stationed some of the people behind the lowest points of the wall in exposed places, posting them by families with swords, spears, and bows. After I looked things over, I stood up and said to the nobles, "Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fights for your families, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your homes." When our enemies heard that they were aware of their plot and that God had frustrated it, we all returned to the wall, each to our own work. From that day on, half of my men did the work, while the other half were equipped with spears, shields, bows, and armor. Here ends the reading. So Nehemiah reminds the people in the midst of fear and opposition, remember who our God is. We have been here before. Our God, the same God that took us out of slavery in Egypt. Our God, the same God that had manna falling from the sky that fed us in the desert. Our God that made water come out of a rock. Our God that allowed us to have so many victories against our enemies when we were coming into the land of milk and honey, the promised land. Remember what our God is capable of. And so I love this because not only did the enemies kind of feel defeated, because they were, but then Nehemiah took a plan and a strategy and kind of reassessed, said, okay, not everyone is going to be working on rebuilding the wall. There's going to be some of you that are going to be working on defending. And for me, I feel like we can apply that in our daily lives in this way. There are times when we face opposition. There are times when we are rebuilding. We are recommitting to something. We're starting new. Maybe we're going back to school. Maybe we've decided on a specific goal. Maybe it's exercise or academia or spiritual life or leadership development. Whatever it is, we will face opposition. And so it is important for us to remember we are not alone. First and foremost, we have the Lord, our rock and our Redeemer at our side, but also we have other people in our community. Nehemiah didn't do this as himself. Nehemiah had all of the Jewish people that were working to rebuild the wall. And so for us, let's reach out and ask people to pray for us if we are facing opposition. Let's reach out and ask people for help and assistance if we feel like we are facing threat. Let us remember that we are not alone, for we are made and are in community. So the people remembered the previous battles. They remembered that God is a God of victory and restoration. And this allowed the people to have strength as they continued to build the wall, strength to continue in the work. So my prayer for you is that you would remember to do the work that God has called you to do. Remember God's faithfulness in the past. And anytime you are in the midst of coming back to something, to getting back on that horse, to deciding that it's not over until it's over, remember that God is with you and your community is with you. Blessings to you all. I will talk to you on Friday. Bye.